But today, the vile person calls himself liberal. Today, the churl who won't pay for anything. I knew a guy like this. I knew this millionaire guy. I've known a lot of millionaires in my life. Unfortunately, sorry, I ran with the wrong crowd. Not anymore. That was a long time ago. Growing up, we knew a lot of them. And I knew this one millionaire guy, and he would often ask me to babysit. I was quite a responsible kid, actually, in 7th and 8th grade, and he had some younger kids, younger than I was, that were not as responsible. And I would often babysit because he would go out with his wife late on Saturday nights, come home 2, 3 in the morning. That's okay, doesn't bother me. But every time he'd get home, it was like all of a sudden there was nothing in his pocket for me. I'll get you next time. I'll get you next time. I'll get you next time. Guy's a millionaire. I walked home broke every single time I took care of this guy's kids. And by the way, I did more than just babysit kids. My mother taught me to vacuum. I vacuumed the house. I cleaned. I washed the dishes. I sat there. I did everything. I mean, I was just the way I was raised by my mom. That's the way I did things. And I went home broke all the time. Finally, my dad paid me. He felt so bad when he found out I wasn't getting paid. He would pay me. But that's how they are. They're funny. Churls. Yeah. They say they're bountiful. They write articles in the paper. They got a big check, that they gave somebody, and there's articles, and there's brass, or maybe brass, gold. I don't know what the things are they put up on buildings and given and donated. I wonder where the money came from. It's none of my business. I really don't care. They'll answer to God for it. I'm not worried. Every man's going to stand before God. You're not getting away with anything down here. Your 70, 80 years are passing quickly, pal. Anyone who's 60 or 70 knows, wow, it was quick. Yeah, it's going to be a lot quicker. It's going real quick. And you're going to stand before the Lord. But today, that's what these vile churls do. They call themselves bountiful. They call themselves liberal. Verse 6. But in that time, the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity. That's what he's doing today, behind the scenes. What do you think, they're having prayer meetings at the Democratic Committee at night? Do you think before Obamacare they're all sitting together passing at midnight on a Saturday? What is that all about? You have one of the most important pieces of legislation in the history of this country. Isn't it something we can discuss during daylight hours when honest people work? What are we ramrodding it through late on midnight on a Saturday? Do you think they're praying there? No, they're working villainy. They're working iniquity. They're practicing hypocrisy. This is for medical care for Americans. The hell it is. Let me tell you, as a doctor, I don't want to get into this, but look, do you know how patients get taken care of? By doctors and nurses at hospitals. Not by bureaucrats, not by insurance agents, not by people. Let me show you how to work out your Medicare. Come talk to me. I'll show you which plan. These people aren't doing a damn thing but shuffling papers. In the nations where you have single-payer health care, like England, I work with doctors that fled England to come to America to get a job. 52% of the medical budget goes into the bureaucracy. 48% goes into the hospitals and the doctors and nurses. Obamacare was an opportunity to steal medicine in this country. Let's see, there's an industry doing about $2 trillion a year taking care of patients. If we can get 52% of that, we got $1.2 trillion in our pocket. Who cares what they do? And while this was going on and bureaucracies were being built and more paper shufflers were being put there so more commercials can be on TV for you, it costs money to put commercials on TV. Where's that money coming from? Out of money that should be spent on sick patients and hospitals and nurses and aides and care workers for them. That's hypocrisy. That's what they work. Obamacare never had anything. It'd be like me saying, I'm going to give you all auto insurance, but no car. Well, what good is that? So I've got an insurance card, but no doctor or hospital I can go to. I'm in a waiting line for 18 months. I'm going to die in the next 6. What good is that? That's hypocrisy. They practice hypocrisy. And that's just social hypocrisy. Worse than that, they utter error against the Lord. No church is open, no prayer in schools, no Bible in the school, no talking about Jesus Christ, no prayer in his name around here. We don't mind Allah because Allah's the devil. We work for him anyways. We don't care about that. We don't care about false religions. But the Lord, no. No, don't tell these kids that they were created by God. Don't tell these kids. This is a history book. I got a copy of this history book. Somebody reprinted this thing back in the 1990s. You probably can't get it anymore. This is from 1854. This was a textbook in schools, Pennsylvania, Maryland. Now here he is. He's going through the history of the world. It opens, the first chapter is about the creation, Genesis. The next chapter is about Adam and Eve. The next chapter 3 is about the flood. Chapter 4 is about the Tower of Babel. But then he gets into other parts of the world. He gets into Asia. Now, here's the honesty a kid is given back in 1854. Although Asia was peopled before any other part of the world, they're far behind the nations of Europe and America in the knowledge of true religion. That's right. Because the Apostle Paul swept across Europe. Christianity came across Europe and came to America. The Asians, for some reason, rejected it. In Asia, there are many people, but they're full of superstition. This is a history book being read to kids. You know what this is? This is truth. This is truth. They're full of superstition. There are very few who worship God in sincerity and truth. Jesus Christ is hardly known among the many millions of people in Asia. The mass of the people live as they had done for ages, ignorant, poor, and degraded. That's good truth. Well, we're all equal. No, we're not. Some people are more equal than others. Those that have a Bible, the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor. Who said? God. God said that. I have respect unto people that know me, and people that don't, well, they live like beasts, he says. They don't have to. They're willing to get they're welcome to get the truth, but if they're not willing, the condition of people in Asia remains nearly the same. In our country and in Europe, 1854, there's constant improvement. Every year there's some new art, some new invention for the benefit of society, but not so in Asia. The people are slaves. Progress is slow. Liberty is unknown. The truth is little valued. Virtue is not prized. This is great. This is what kids need. Honesty, truth. You're not going to see that. If you read that page, take it to your assembly one day, see what happens. I got an assemblyman here. Yeah. Utter error against the Lord. Read the modern textbooks that these kids are given today, packaged with the lies and revisionist history. This nation, America, is one of two nations founded with God at the core. One was Israel, chosen by God. This nation chose God. But both of them tried to build around God's word. You say, but they both failed. Well, that was kind of the point of God's experiment, is you need a new birth and you need my son. But at least you tried. Well done for trying. They utter error against the Lord. Who is this? Verse 5, this is the liberal. So if you want to know the characteristics of a liberal, you need Isaiah 32, verses 5 through 7. This is what God said a liberal is. When you meet a liberal, you can just shake your head and go, boy, I'm sorry for you. That's today. In the millennium, you'll be thankful to meet a real liberal. Today, you'll meet the liberal who's vile. He speaks villainy. Boy, they're good at swearing. I remember when Obamacare passed, you might be able to catch this on YouTube, and the vice president grabbed the president, this was Joe Biden, grabbed Obama and said, this is one big effing deal. And he didn't say effing. He said the full word. Yeah, that's how they speak. A stream of, it's like a sailor's convention. You should put away wrath and put away vanity and put away profanity when you know the Lord. But this is what they do. They make empty the soul of the hungry. Verse 6. Not only their soul, they'll make their bodies empty too. Here's a great idea. Let's unionize the farms. Let's not. Everywhere you would try stupid things like this, like, for example, the USSR did it on steroids in 1917. The USSR, they had the biggest breadbasket in the world, bigger than America. They exported more grain than America did in 1917. By 1922, 5 years later, they were importing grain they couldn't feed their own. You let socialists, liberals, communists, anything like that in charge of production, production grinds to a halt. They'll not only make your soul hungry, they'll make your body hungry. You'll starve. Read about the trib. People are eating each other in cannibalism because there's no food. Thankfully, we won't be here. They'll make, but more importantly, they make the soul hungry by keeping the word of God from people. Communism, the Bible's outlawed. Down in Cuba, Bible's outlawed. China, the Bible's outlawed. We got to smuggle them in. North Korea, it's outlawed. That's what liberals do. And they cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. The waters will dry up. They keep talking about a water shortage. First off, environmentally, we don't have one less drop of water than we had in Genesis 1. Okay? Water evaporates, it condensates, it precipitates, and it goes through a cycle. None of it's been lost. So I don't know who's talking to you. I don't know what science courses you're taking, but they got nothing to do with good science, chemical science. But they will do that. They will destroy that. Verse 7, the instruments of the churl are evil. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words. Now, I know we're thinking pocketbook poor. It's our first response. God first is thinking spiritual poor. Those that are poor in spirit. Those that don't know truth. Okay? And you come up with ways of keeping the truth from them. This book is too hard for you to read. It's another language. You can't understand it. I mean, we had a church do that for 1,000 years. It's only in Latin. We're the only ones that know what it says. Well, if you know what it says, what are you doing what you're doing for? Why are you building statues there? It says no statues are allowed. So we don't read it either, but we're going to keep you from it. And that's how they destroy them first that way. But the other way they'll destroy you is they will destroy the poor with lying words. They'll take every last penny you have. They just, how he says, they devise wicked devices. I'll give you a device. You know what? We need to tax the rich. Okay. But they don't tell you what rich is. It's a funny thing. Now, in my mind, your mind, rich would be maybe someone makes over 200 grand a year. But in their mind, if you make over about 37,000 a year, you're rich. So then what's middle class? The middle class is anyone on welfare sitting on a porch smoking a joint. That's not middle class. Middle class are the working people that drive trucks and build the bridges and go out and mine the goods and build the homes. Those are the middle class. Oh, they're rich to us. And so they redefine words, and that's how they devise things, and they strip people down. And you go to those nations, and there's just a couple of rich people and just loads of squalor, poor people that don't have anything. And that's what liberalism does. And he defines it. But the truth is, during God's time, verse 8, the true liberal will devise liberal things, and by liberal things shall he stand. And the true liberal will actually, at that time, sit in his home like David does and say, wow, who am I, Lord? Look what you've done for me. Look at my home. Look at all these things I have. Who can I go out and help? Who can I go out and, like you said, Lord, throw a banquet for them, because they could never repay me. But is there a Mephibosheth that I can find and bring to my table and feed him that can offer me nothing, but I'd like to give him something? And that's the way he thinks, as to how he can be a blessing to others rather than how he can steal and pilfer the work and the labor of others.